Welcome to EduRev.
Hello and welcome to EduRev. My name is Ramesh Singh. I have been teaching Indian polity and history to UPSC civil service aspirants over the past 5 years. In this time, I have mentored over 20,000 students, and I myself have an experience of appearing for 2 IAS interviews. In this video, I will be taking you through to class 6th history NCERT book. As all of you are well aware, NCERT books form the basic understanding of any civil services aspirant, especially for history. आप किसी से भी पूछ लो हिस्ट्री के लिए what do you have to read, the first thing they will always tell you is NCERT. Because NCERT at the end of the day help you in making sure कि हिस्ट्री की जो आपकी फाउंडेशन है that is built right from the bottom. This is the part 1 of the video series in which I will be covering the first few chapters of the class 6 history NCERT book. In this series, you will also find other videos and notes accompanied with them along with a quiz related to this particular topic. Now, when you start reading history from class 6, the history starts from the time where we first find about human settlements. पहली बार कहाँ पे humans रहे इंडिया के आसपास, what were they doing, वो लोग क्या करते थे, and what is it that they were eating, what were their habits, ये सब चीज़ें आप class 6 history NCERT में पढ़ते हैं. Now, it's always better if you get to see these things on a map so that it becomes easier for you to understand क्या चीज़ कहाँ पे थी, where are the things located, and how are the things changing over time. Now, जो one of the first few human settlement जो इंडिया और इंडिया के आसपास देखे गए, those were in the Suleiman and the Kirthar hills. Now, as you can see in the map, these are the Suleiman and these are the Kirthar hills. So, as you can see, these settlements are right at the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So, it's far away from India. India of today, although at the time when the British were here, this was also India. So, it's almost at the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. These were the places in which we find the very first evidence of crops such as wheat and barley. Now, these kind of small informations are important for you from the prelims examination point of view especially. That is, which crop was grown where were the first human settlements found in the Indian subcontinent, etc. etc. Suleiman and Kirthar hills were the places where the first evidence of wheat and barley were found. इसके अलावा one of the other crops that was found in India was actually rice. But rice was found in the Vindhya ranges. As you can see, these are the Vindhya ranges. Even today, the Vindhya mountain ranges, which are not very high, they are considered to be the border between the North India and the south part of India. When you cross the Vindhyas from this side, it is said that you are now entering the Deccan region and you are about to enter the south part of India. You go towards the north of India, that is what you call the northern part of India. So Vindhya ranges were the ones where you also see human settlements very early on and also evidence of rice that was being cultivated. Human settlements are also seen near the Garo hills. Garo, as you know today, is a part of Meghalaya. So these three were the main centers where you see first evidences. And also you need to remember small details about the kind of crops that were found. So wheat and barley in Suleiman and Kirthar hills, rice in the Vindhya ranges. Now, when you talk about history, it's very fascinating to know how did the word India come into being, or why is India called Bharat. Even in the Indian constitution, जब constitution पढ़ते हैं, you will see that the two names that are used for our country in the constitution are India and Bharat. हमारी country को India या फिर भारत कहा जाता है. No other name has been used in the Indian constitution. And that too is in article number 1. So the very first article of the constitution says India, that is Bharat is a union of states. So India and Bharat are the two names. अब it is interesting to know ये नाम आया कहाँ से. Now interestingly, we did not give this name to ourselves. हमने खुद को ये नाम नहीं दिया. The early settlements, जितने भी early settlements थे, not just in India, Egypt, China, all of them had one thing in common. ये सारे के सारे settlements were nearby a river. तो इंडिया में जो अर्ली सेटलमेंट्स थे Those were near the Indus River. Similarly, in Egypt, in Mesopotamia, in China, all of them were near certain big rivers. Why? Because water was the one resource without which the life just could not survive. So near Indus River, you see early human settlements. Up India, में a lot of people came in from Iran, from Greece. When these people came to India, according to them, India was a land which was towards the east of the river Indus. So for them, river Indus was the marking point. कि Indus में पहुंच गए, अब ये country नई शुरू हो गई है. So while they crossed Indus, they thought that now that we have crossed Indus, that is where it now starts. That is where the new country starts. Now the interesting part is in the language used by the Persian, that is Iranians. In their script, the word I is not present, so they call it Sindhu. So they called it the Sindhu River. And the people who were living towards the east of this particular river were now termed as Indians, or the people who were living towards the east side of the Indus River. Also, there is another term that is used for our country, Bharat. The Bharat naam kahan se aaya? The story goes like this, that in the ऋग्वेद में काफी सारी ट्राइब्स के नाम थे कि इंडिया में कई सारी अलग ट्राइब्स हुआ करती थी. वन ऑफ द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट ऑफ दीज ट्राइब्स वर कॉल्ड भारत ट्राइब. जो भारत ट्राइब है वहां से वर्ड आ गया भारत. Historians use a lot of things to learn about our past. For example, after 5,000 years, how will people come to know about us? They will either see books written, they will either see some other evidences, they will dig the land, अंदर से जो मिलेगा उनको पता चलेगा कि अच्छा this is how the people used to live. So even today when we read about people और जब हमें पता करना होता है how were people living earlier, we make use of inscriptions, manuscripts, books, etc. There's a difference between inscriptions and manuscripts. Manuscripts are the ones that are written on a much softer surface, like bark of a tree, like they were written on paper, or maybe they were written on a leaf. These are called manuscripts. Usually manuscripts के लिए a special kind of a tree, the bark of a special kind of a tree called the birch tree was used. Now birch tree was found in the Himalayas. उस ट्री की जो बार्क होती थी उसको यूज किया जाता था टू राइट मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट. एज यू कैन इमेजिन एनीथिंग रिटन ऑन अ पीस ऑफ पेपर और एनीथिंग रिटन ऑन अ बार्क ऑफ अ ट्री वो ज्यादा तो चलेगी नहीं. अब इतने हजारों साल के बाद हाउ कैन इट सर्वाइव? Your notebooks don't even survive for 2 or 3 years, so how can you expect something so long ago to survive? So manuscripts ज़्यादा survive नहीं करते. Inscriptions on the other hand is something that is written on a harder surface. पत्थर पे लिख दिया, written on a pole, written on a wall, that is called an inscription. Those are found even much later. ऐसे अशोका की inscription हमें अभी भी हमारे पास है. The ones that are written on the pillars, on the rocks, those are inscriptions. Then there are certain books that were written. Now, books in India's history have played a very, very important role in telling us about how the country was. There are religious books, there are non-religious books, there are even science-based books. For example, Chanakya's Arthashastra tells us about how the Mauryan Empire used to function. Sushruta also used a lot of books to tell other people about the invention of science that he was doing. Sushruta Samhita that he wrote. There were many other people who were writing many religious as well as non-religious books, जिसके बारे में और जिससे हमें पता चलता है how the life was at that time. Now, when you talk about the human beings, we were not like this always. We all started by just moving or wandering around. We were called hunters and gatherers. Hunters means we used to hunt the animals, we used to eat them. Gatherers means जो food कहीं पे मिला है, कहीं पे पेड़ से टपका है, उसको इकट्ठा किया और खा लिया. We were continuously searching for food because we did not know how agriculture works. We did not know how to preserve food. We did not have any idea. We just searched for food. We found something to eat, वो खा लेते थे. Sometimes it used to turn out poisonous, and that is how we used to learn. कि अच्छा ये नहीं खाना है, ये खाना है. Also, we learned over time that different crops grow in different seasons. You can't just keep on living at one single place कि यहीं सब कुछ उगता रहेगा. No. Obviously, in different seasons, the different kind of crops grow. So when the season changes, there would be crops that would not grow. आपको फिर shift होना पड़ेगा. Also, if people would have lived in one single place for a long duration of time, they would exhaust all the food. अब एक जगह के आसपास कुछ ही खाना उगेगा. There would be some trees or plants that would grow in their vicinity. Once those are exhausted, they have to move to some other place. So that is why the earliest people were always on the move. There was no reason for settling at a place. You settle at a place right now because you have a job, right? Because you have all this infrastructure, you have built a house, so you can't just keep on wandering. At that time, there were no houses, there were no jobs, there were no reason for a person to stay at a single place. The people kept on moving wherever their food took them, because food was the essential commodity. Wherever they could find food, they just kept on moving. Wherever the animals went, they kept on moving. Wherever they found plants, trees, they kept on moving. So that is how the life started.